You are now listening to the smooth sounds of Love Atiya. Ciao, beautiful souls. My name's Atiya, and I am your future bestie in your head. I am a sex-positive animal activist. I grew up in Queens, New York, and was homeschooled/unschooled for about 12 years. I was a virgin until I was 24 and attempted to have a hoe phase for 2 years, which eventually led me to being accidentally/intentionally celibate. And here we are today. My past left me with a lot of wild stories, a lot of lessons, and a hell of a lot of trauma. Thank God for my wicked sense of humor, because God only knows I would have perished by now. With that being said, this is your gentle reminder that the Love Atiya experience was created as a safe space for me to reflect and share the lessons that I've learned from past traumas. Shit gets real on this podcast, and topics such as domestic violence, sexual assault, substance abuse, depression, anxiety, and suicide may be referenced. If you are working through feeling triggered by certain topics, this may not be the show for you right now, and that's okay. Healing takes time and isn't linear. I'll be here when you're ready. Now, without further ado, the Love Atiya experience is an experience. So get ready for laughs, crazy story times, and life-changing pleasure tips here on the Love Atiya Experience podcast. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Love Atiya Experience. And we have my first official Zoom guest. So my mom was my first official guest, but she was in person. So now we have our first official guest via Zoom, the absolutely amazingly kind-hearted, loving, freaking productive, like just transparent, authentic, motivational Nigel Marcellus. How are you doing today, Nigel?
First of all, that was like a fire intro to do off the dome. Like, I appreciate you. I'm humbled. I receive all the kindness, all the kind words, and I'm doing well. I'm so excited for this. As you know, like off camera, me and you always be having fire conversations. So this right here is about to be like top tier. If you're listening, just know you're getting absolute value for show.
Thank you so much, Nigel. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you for being here. I wanted you to tell my listeners where or how you found me, or like how we met, like how it all begun. Because I found out on your podcast, the Nigel Marcellus interview series, that you found me on.
Yeah, so I found you on TikTok.
Okay.
So what ended up happening is it was like your promo video for your podcast, and I found you and I saw that and I was like, yo, her energy is amazing. And I sent it to one of my homegirls, Aaliyah, because I'm like, yo, this would remind me of something that you would probably do, low key. And the thing about Aaliyah, she's one of those people who like, ain't nobody like me, like nobody energy matching me. And I sent it to her, and she was like, oh my God, that's like a twin right now. So I was like, that's crazy how that worked. And from there, like I just did my own homework, because as somebody who like wants to, I'm an aspiring talk show host for all those listening. As someone who does their homework, I really just did a deep dive in like your podcast, your Instagram, your all the work that you're doing. And I was like, yo, she is special. Like what you're doing is something that I don't really see. And even the way in which you do it is just so unique and so beautiful and it's so authentic that I was like, yo, I gotta tap in. So from there, I reached out, got you on the podcast. We had that conversation. And from there, we just been locked in since. And like, I'm not even gonna lie, when it comes to 2024 or 2023 and like some of the most important people I've met this year, you are by far one of those people. Like I'm so thankful to meet you, and I'm excited to see like where our friendship grows from this, because like you are incredible. Like I swear you are one of one, truly, for real.
Oh my God, my cheeks hurt, and we're only like, what, are we even 5 minutes in? We're like 3 minutes into the episode. Thank you so much, Nigel. Shout outs to Aaliyah, because she is absolutely magnificent, and she co-hosted the episode that I was on Nigel's podcast. But I feel like you are always pouring into me. You're always pouring into everybody in your life. So I just want to take a second to pour into you. Y'all, I have literally told Nigel that you are like, did I say top 3 or top 5? I don't even know. Let's just fucking say top 3. Like top 3 men in my life who really like give me just hope for humanity as like a whole. You are just so beautiful and like effervescent. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. You are a whole author of a children's book. You are in school to get your PhD freaking D. Like you have a interview series podcast. You have your interview series that you do at your school, right? With your are these your students, or what would you like with your peers? Like
Mentees, strangers, random people, just whoever's willing to answer these deep questions because they get real deep real quick.
they be deep, y'all. He's like, oh, what do you love about Black women? And this one guy was like, yeah, like I love so much. He's like, all right, keep it going, keep it going. Keep it going. Like, I just love all that you do. I think you ask questions like, what is something that you're healing from? Things like that. Like that's just questions that a lot of people in our community don't really get asked a lot and don't get to like express often. So just thank you for all that you do. Like I said, outside of the accomplishment side of things, just who you are as a person, like in everything I've learned from you. I learned a freaking lot on your podcast episode, but just reading your posts and your heart is so open. And then it even has me reevaluating like my heart. I'm like, damn, like my heart used to be like that. Like I can't wait, you know? So just thank you so much for being you and for being just so magnificent. I almost feel speechless. I feel like I had so much more I wanted to say, and now I'm here in front of you and I'm like, you know, like
Nah,
yeah.
you say more than enough. I receive it all, and I really appreciate it. Like, yeah, nah, that's love. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Of course. Okay, so this episode is actually going to be about singleness, dating at our age. It's going to be about how we're just navigating like love and life and our peers as a whole. I know that you do a live series, and I think I joined on like the third hour of your live, and
Yo, third hour is crazy. Yo, that live was so long, bro. It was literally like three and a half hours. That was nuts.
I love it though. Like y'all were talking about some good shit, and once again, like I learned so much in regards to your thoughts, and it was great because you had the perspective of women, like three amazing women that I joined in on. But I was like really excited to hear your perspective as well because I could relate so much to them. But your perspective is one that we don't hear very often, just from like a young Black man who just has, like I said, like an open heart, which is a beautiful thing. So that's what we're going to be talking about, navigating love in the 21st century. But first, I want to ask you 5, I guess, icebreaker questions.
Cool, let's get it.
I want to know about your sex life. Okay. So number 1 is,
let's get it.
What's the best sex you've ever had and what made it so great?
Ooh, the best sex I ever had was, oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was definitely like when I was in college.
Okay.
And I'll get more into like why it was in college. College was a long time ago for me, but yeah, I think what made it so good is like the partner that I had. She was like teaching me something new, and it was my first time doing like more so like rough sex, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of like this is fun. Like this is fun. I kind of like this.
Okay. Now,
Yeah, so that was a good time.
What do you define as rough sex?
Ooh, that's a good question. It was nothing, and granted, I'm probably like there's levels to it, and I'm probably at the lowest level, but it was nothing that was like bruises or cuts or nothing like that. But it was just a little bit more like aggressive, like choking, holding on tight, scratches, things of that nature. And I was like, yeah, I'm with it. I like it.
Like I can get jiggy with this shit.
Yeah, I like it because I'm like, I don't know if you've ever taken like that BDSM test, but when I took it, like I'm mostly like a dominant person. So like anything that makes me feel like a lot more dominant makes me feel like better in bed. So like that was like, she was like, yeah, choke me. And I was like, at first like, I don't know, I ain't trying to catch no case. And she's like, don't, bro, stop playing. I crack hella jokes. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. But yeah, then like the more we kind of got into it, it was like, oh yeah, no, this is like, yeah.
Like over here.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that was definitely top.
I feel it. And that's super dope because she like super consented to it. Like she, like you said, was teaching you. So I think that's helpful in the situation. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Question number 2 is, what's your favorite position? Or do you have a favorite position?
Oh, I love when she's on top. Like, for sure. I love when she's doing her thing. And I'm watching, I'm like sitting back, like, yeah, like yeah, little mama, like you go crazy, go crazy. So yeah, that's for sure my favorite.
Okay, I love that. Ooh, number 3 is, have you ever been caught having sex or masturbating by like anyone?
Never. I'm a ninja. Like, yeah, I've never been caught. I think I might have came close once or two times, but I was never. You never catch me. You never
Okay.
catch me for sure.
Okay, with the quick reflexes, the one to the flip the covers over.
Yeah, nah, reflex is quick. I hear a noise and it's a wrap. It's like, oh yeah, time time to start acting. Getting out Oscar movie bag. You know what I mean?
I definitely feel you. Okay, we're coming down to the final stretch. Number 5. Number 4 is, do you watch porn?
Yes, not as much, but yeah, for sure.
Okay. Part 2 to that question is, do you have a favorite category? Like for me, I like solo ebony.
Ebony, for sure. Like it's so bad. Like Ebony, 100%. Don't show me nothing. Like I need black women the
Period.
whole time.
Period.
Please, I don't want to see nothing else. No other shade, no disrespect. Black women, number one. Thanks. That's it.
Absolutely. You know what? Before I
I'm
even
100% a black woman stand account for all those listening. Like I don't play black women only.
Yep, and that's exactly what I was gonna say before we get to number 5. Like, one thing about Nigel is you're gonna know, like, he's definitely a stand for Black women, and like in the most fucking genuine like way. Even, and I want to go backwards to your introduction, but like even just your friendships, like the way that you hold your friends up. You literally hosted a friendsgiving, right, for like everybody at your school who couldn't go
Mhm.
home. How many people were there? It looked like a million people were there. Like,
Yeah, it was a lot. It was 52 people altogether. And I did all the cooking. I had help with desserts, but majority of the cooking, I for sure, I held that down. So
that's so amazing. Y'all can go to his page.
thank
We're
you.
gonna put all his information in the description and stuff so you can follow him and keep up with him. But he has like a whole like documentation of like what happened that day. And I think you even did some interviews and things like that. So yeah, just hella impactful. But just the way that you hold your black women friends up, like he literally will send me like a paragraph in my DM randomly, just like boosting me up. And I'm like, how the hell did he know that I need to hear that? Like, so yeah. Yes, he really means what he says when he says that he like is here for black women, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course. I just realized that I actually literally asked you the last question with number 4 because it was, do you watch porn and what kind of porn do you watch? So all right, thank you for answering my icebreaker questions. I know some of the answers to these next questions I'm going to ask you, but I just want our audience to kind of get like a better idea of like what your history with love is and things of that sort. So can you tell
For
us
sure.
how long you've been single? And then I'll go from there.
Yeah, so I just turned 29 in October. Scorpio gang for all those who follow astronomy. I know Scorpios get a bad rep. I promise you, I'm trying to change the game for us. So I say that to say how long I've been single. I've actually never been in a relationship in my life. So
Okay.
I've been single my whole life for sure.
Oh, kudos to you. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
rough,
Do you know
rough.
what really? Okay, why has it been so rough? Like, why is it a choice? Are you just really selective? Like, what has your journey been when trying to find your first relationship?
If I'm being honest with you, that's the question of like, why are you single? Is one that I feel as if I always struggle with
Mm.
because I don't ever feel like it's one reason. And I think, especially like in the chapter of life I am now, I feel like I'm at my most healed self. And when I find somebody of interest, it just usually never works out. But I'm a backtrack.
Okay.
To answer the question, I think for the longest time, I've always been somebody who struggled with worthiness and feeling like he was deserving of love. So in order to feel deserving, I felt like I had to work for love. So I would always pursue people who necessarily were not like people who I just did not need to be with because I didn't recognize my value, but I was trying to prove my value in other people. And when you go chasing and looking for your value in other people, you're never going to be able to find it. So
Mm.
I would always end up trying to prove myself, prove myself, prove myself. and then it wouldn't work out. And then I would always look at myself and be like, oh, what'd you do wrong? Like I did something wrong. It was always my fault. It was always something I could have done better. And I think over time of just things never working out and never working out, it put me in this position where I got to a place where I was like, you know what? Like I believe in love for everybody else, but I don't believe in love for myself.
Mm.
So why try? And I think I masked my own insecurity with love and being more career driven. So I was the person who, like, when I was in school, it was like, oh, I'm not even trying to focus on love because I'm trying to make sure I get dean's list and make the best grades. Or like I started a student organization. It's like I'm gonna focus on like building this organization and helping other people. And I think every once in a while I would catch myself like falling for somebody or liking somebody. And I would feel like, oh, I'm at a like really healthy place, but still deep down in my core, I didn't feel good enough that when I try to make it work, the minute like things would start getting real, I would always self-sabotage, or I'd be like, oh, you're gonna mess this up, or oh, this is, man, this is too good to be true, et cetera, and like find a way out. So I think for the longest time, I can't say it was anybody else. Sure, other people have responsibility and like maybe how they affirm me or made me feel. But the bigger picture, I think myself, I didn't feel like I was deserving of it.
Mm.
But you fast forward to now, I feel like I'm finally at this place where it's like all that love that I felt like I was lacking, I've learned how to pour into myself. I've learned how to affirm myself. I learned how to look in the mirror and say, like, no, you are deserving of love and you are love and you're created and you have this great capacity to love. And with that now, I think what's been frustrating and why I said like, yeah, this podcast is perfect timing because I feel as if like I be going through it all the time, especially now, is that I think like when you finally find somebody who you really want to build with and you know they check off the boxes and you get like really excited and you get your hopes up and it doesn't work out. It's like right now I'm at this place where I'm battling with my past triggers and my past traumas of like, oh man, what'd you do wrong? And like I'm affirming myself, like, nah, you did everything. You did the best you can. You showed up. You did all this. It just didn't work out. But I think the reason why I'm struggling with that question now is because I feel as if, you know, I'm like, I really worked on myself.
Mhm.
And it seems like even when, through working on myself, whenever I get to that point of like, I like you and you like me, and we have that conversation, it still goes south. Like it used to be this big hurdle of me being scared to tell somebody I like them. Because
Mhm.
usually whenever I say that, it never works out.
Mhm.
And the fact that I feel like I'm at a more healed place and it still doesn't necessarily work out, it's like me battling myself of reminding like, no, it didn't work out for multiple reasons, and those reasons might have nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Or that might just not be your person. Or, you know, there's so many different variables. But I think like right now I'm really trying to affirm myself and not to take things so personal, which has been like the ultimate challenge right now.
Ooh, absolutely. Have you read the book The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I gotta read
yeah,
one
for
again.
sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's when you have to read like every 2 years because you'll be at different parts of your life like as you read it. Like I read it say 5 years ago and then I read it again 2 years after that. So now I feel like I'm at my mark of like having to re-up on it. But when you said not to take things personally, like I feel
Hmm.
like that book really helped me like remember why like it makes it feel less hard or less heavy to not take it personally after reflecting over some of the things that he shared in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for context too, for people who don't know, like I'm also an only child. So when it came to like growing up in my interaction, a lot of things I had to figure out myself because I didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable or safe going to other people. So like when you're used to that kind of like mentality, everything seems like you control yourself and
Mm-hmm.
I have the ultimate control of me. So if things don't work out, then it's because of me. So again, it's like it's really learning to not take things personal, but also being able to give myself grace and understand like, you know, you did your best. And just because you did your best doesn't always entitle you to a relationship. It doesn't always entitle you to a person. Even if you're a good person with a good heart and good intentions, you're not entitled to a relationship. You got to find it. And then once you find it, you got to build it with a person. And I think I find great people. I haven't found great people for me to build to. what it needs to be. So to answer your question, why do I think I'm single? I think I haven't found that person to like really build yet.
Damn. I'm literally shaking my head the whole time, like, geez Louise. No, hell yes. I feel like you and I live very, is the word parallel? Like very parallel lives. Like I too am an only child. I too struggled with like building myself up when I was younger, especially in dating, and like took the blame for a lot of stuff. And I can just relate. And then now I was nodding my head extra hard because when you talk about like evolving and healing, but then trying to meet someone who's also like on a similar journey and also wanting to build on top of that, I literally just finished making a podcast episode about this and about doing your best. And then even after you do your best, it's like nobody tells you that not everybody's on that same time. That's one. Like nobody tells you that when you are healing and when you do all the self work, like in my mind, everybody else is gonna do the self work with me. So then by the time like I get to this other level, I'm like, hey, like we're all here. And I feel like I'm like elevating to this other level. And I'm like, where the fuck y'all at? Like, you know, whether it be just,
Yeah, no facts.
you know, like dating, life, whatever. So I can highly relate to you doing the work and feeling like you really like made the like reached the not even a plateau, but just like made it to like a really to a place where you feel like you're safe and able to date and able to lift yourself up, lift your partner up in a healthy way, and then not necessarily feel like somebody's able to like meet you there right now. I'm also trying to navigate that as well. Yeah, it's like I don't know it, and I think that you did it so right. Like based on how I'm listening, it's like I wish that people would take time out while they're younger and really focus on learning about themselves. And I think it is even amazing that you had these experiences that may have triggered certain things or maybe made you feel uncomfortable in certain ways because it showed you like what you wanted to heal, what you wanted to grow, what you wanted to work on. But yeah, nobody really tells you what to do when you're at this state of elevation. And it's like I the only place where I feel like we're different is I'm at a place of like isolation now that I'm at this other level of my healing, and you're at a place of like, your heart is open and you want to share everything you've worked towards with somebody special, if I'm reading it right.
Yeah, no, you're definitely reading it right. I think what makes it difficult is going back because you asked this question and I feel like I didn't answer it. It's like part of it too is like I'm very intentional with like who I want to build with. And I think also that's something I could take accountable for is like I look for specific things in people, right? Like people say like you shouldn't have expectations. I don't have expectations. I have requirements. And then
Period.
once I find like those requirements, then like it's open battlefield. But as far as it goes, like I look for certain things in people because I understand that when it comes to like partnership, it's a collaboration. And I know what I bring to the table. And I'm not one of those like hyper masculine men, like, yeah, you gotta find a woman who it's nothing like that, but it's understanding like I know my worth now. You know what I mean? Before I didn't. So I was going after anything. Now I have a better understanding of what my worth is and what I bring to the table and what I lack also. And now I'm working on healing myself still, but also like these are the things that I look for because I know this is what's gonna keep me invested. It's gonna keep me loving. It's gonna keep me motivated and pushing for a better relationship with somebody. And I think part of it like is my standards, and it's hard because like the location I'm at, I don't necessarily come across the people that kind of hit those. So it's a level of patience, and because I don't often find people when I do, it's crazy. I had to start earlier. It's like sometimes I don't know if like I have a connection with somebody or I have an attachment because some connection is like mutual. So like usually if I like you and you say you like me, in my mind it's like, oh, this is a connection. But just because I like you and you like me, if there's a little bit more energy coming on my side, that might be more of an attachment than an actual connection. You got to build a connection, but you can find an attachment. So it's I think for me it's really just constantly reminding myself that no matter how much I heal, no matter how much I work on myself, I'm not entitled to anything. I still have to work, I still have to find, I still have to do the necessary processing in order to build that. But I think especially like for the quote unquote good guys or the good girls or the people who are like lovers and romantic, I think sometimes we forget that just because we're doing the work doesn't make us entitled to having somebody. We still have to go through the ghetto of dating, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's deep as shit. My mom always says, like, oh, is this person a part of the entitlement program? Like, yeah, I can relate to that. I feel like I used to be really entitled when it came to like support, right? Like I felt like, well, support and sex. So support, it would be like, oh, if I post something about my self-care business, I'm like, oh, I want everybody to order it because I'm a great person. Like, I don't know. That's hella, like, to me, that's what I see as my own entitlement because like nobody owes me anything in that aspect. But then when it comes to entitlement in sex, I felt like after I had shared my relationship and like was sexually active now, I'm like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to have a whole phase. Like, why? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, I wanted a long line of people. And then that's when the discernment comes in. Cause it's like, okay, just because I shared my virginity, just because you've done like a lot of healing, doesn't mean that then we want just anybody who's gonna come and give me dick or give you a relationship. Like my mom used to say all the time, like when I would complain about not being in a relationship, she'd be like, well, you could have like had a boyfriend a long time ago. Like there's a line of guys like waiting for you. You're just not like picking those specific guys back in the day. So I can relate to that.
that's the one. That's the one. Because it's like I would sit here like I would be sitting here lying to you if I said there wasn't people interested in me. It's just I'm not interested in them. And I think that's the part that like also too. And yo, I've had this conversation with guys, and I feel like I should say it. Like a lot of guys, especially like black men, when it comes to black women, they hold resentment towards black women. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to this white girl, I'm gonna go to all these other people. And I think like the problem with black men, but people in general, is we only respect the people who we're attracted to.
Ooh,
And
that.
it's like if we don't see the people that like we don't see anybody else who we're not attracted to. Like we don't notice the person like, oh yeah, that person generally likes us, they care about us, or they're showing up for us and all these different things. Because we only hyper focus on those who are attracted to. And then when that doesn't work out, it makes us feel jaded towards everybody else. And I think like the one thing that I always try to like remain grounded and remind myself is like, yeah, the person who you want might not necessarily want you, but that does not give you the liberty to bash every single person.
Mm,
Because if you really wanted a relation, like if you really, really wanted a relationship, there's somebody who's interested in you.
mm-hmm,
You just got to be honest with yourself and recognize you don't want that person. And
mm-hmm.
I think that's the part that gets a little tricky because every once in a while you be like, man, I'm just so lonely and oh man. But it's like, yo, if you really, really, really wanted it, there's people who you can build with. But it's
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of us, like because of our standards, because of our requirements, because of the things that we look for, we don't pay attention to certain opportunities because we're always searching for the right thing, the right person, the right whatever. And I think that's I don't know. To your mom's point, it's like, yeah, you could be in a relationship, but why not?
Literally, yeah. And going back to what you said about like what you desire, like it doesn't mean that you have to just pick anybody who's interested in you just because you like crave a relationship. Like no, the mutual need and like you said, that connection. I love that comparison of connection versus attachment because I've definitely done a lot of learning about like attachment styles, and I'm like, oh shit, like I'm a combination or one or the other depending on like the person, if that makes sense. So I can have.
Oh, do you know your attachment style?
God damn. Uh, it depends. So
Okay,
I feel like I'm really, really, really healing from my anxious attachment.
got you.
So I think that like yeah, I feel like I'm able to like let go. And like I think moving out of the country has definitely helped me with that. Like I haven't been as communicative with people back home. I haven't like I think I've done some pulling back as well, which is probably why my attachment style has changed. Um
Mm. So
the
you're
other
like in a relationship. You're the person who definitely needs like a lot of reassurance, right? Like you need somebody to let you know, like, yeah, I like you, I care about you. Because like the minute something happens, your mind's already going a million. Like, oh, they did something, they changed, he don't like me no more. Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
legit. Because the other ones are avoidant, anxious. What are the other ones? Do you remember?
So it's secure,
Okay,
anxious, avoidant, and then fearful avoidant. Also known as disorganized attachment.
well that might be me too. Wait, what does that one consist of?
So if you have a disorganized attachment style, also known as fearful avoidant, essentially it's a combination of anxious and being avoidant. So it's a mixture of both. The reason why I know this one very well is because that is my attachment style. My
Okay.
attachment style is a fearful avoidant. So it means that although you ultimately crave intimacy, the closer that somebody gets to you, the more likely you feel like they're going to abandon you. So then you try to distance yourself. So you have this like roller coaster of emotions of essentially being like, I really, really want you and I want you close. But at the same time, the closer you get, you're scaring me because you're probably going to leave me like everybody else did. So I want you away, but I still want you close, but I also want you away. So it's like, it's legitimately a roller coaster of like every single day. Like you need reassurance, but you also need to find reassurance in yourself. You want somebody close, but at the same time, when they're close, you wonder how how close are they really, or are they going to leave you? It's crazy for sure.
Oh, not you just read me for Phil. That's crazy because that's me as shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm anxious attachment. No, I'm that one. Fearful fucking avoidant. Like highly, highly high. And I feel like even before, like the world, not the world, but like my listeners know that I was in like really jank relationship or really unhealthy, I'll say. But even before that, like I really needed the assurance and I really needed the reassurance and the positive affirmations and the quality time. And I feel like I was kind of deprived of some of that because I was a virgin. So people were like, I'll give you the time I got. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder
Yeah,
if some of that stemmed from, yeah.
yeah, no, it's definitely tough. I mean, like for me, like to just call a spade, and this doesn't necessarily come from my parents, but like I've definitely been abandoned by like friends and whatnot. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's hard for me to let people in, and I think this goes back to like when I tell you like, oh, if the minute I express I like you, and then you say you like me, it goes down south. A lot of that comes from that abandonment. It's like, oh man, we finally, whew, this big hurdle, this big hump, this vulnerability, like I like you. And that used to be like such a hard thing for me to say. Like my friends would be like, yo, just tell this girl you like her. And I was like, nah, I can't tell her. I refuse to tell her. But it's like the minute I express that, I like you. I want you. I want to build with you. Usually for me, things go south and that triggers my abandonment. So that triggers the effect of like, oh, they're going to leave me. And I think that's the period of time when I almost need the most reassurance because it's like, yeah, you say you like me and your words, I want to take you for your words, but my history has told me your actions do not follow up. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the moments where it's like, oh man, yeah, you like me, but dang, you ain't texting me today. Dang, we went all day
Mm-hmm.
without texting. Like, do you really like me? Or, you start noticing patterns as far as like, oh, I remember like when we FaceTime, we used to FaceTime for hours on end. Now you ready to go in like an hour or two. Oh, something this feel a little different. You know what I mean? So I think that's what makes being single difficult or trying to build a relationship difficult because it's like you have it's not just you coming to the table, it's you and all your baggage on top of another person, all their baggage. And it's like if you don't I feel as if the ways in which we date and the ways in which we try to get to know each other these days is not even authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're all putting up this like persona of who we think our person wants to be. And then by the time we take down that persona, it's already like too late because you don't even get to see the real person. So yeah, it's hard out here. I ain't gonna sit here in front and cap and act like, oh no, this is big dog. Nah, this is hard for sure. Especially if you're a lover.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a huge capacity to love. Especially if you somebody who believes in like, oh man, romance and the buying flowers and intimate time, all that stuff. It's hard for sure.
Yeah.
So if anybody is listening right now and you're struggling, trust you are not alone. This shit is hard.
In the words of Michael Jackson, you are not alone.
Facts.
Heavy on that. Okay, so my question to you is, do you think that there's a thin line, or how do you know when you're crossing the boundary of like positive affirmation to getting into love bombing? Like what's the difference? Because I think that because I've craved like affirmations and I've craved that like reassurance, sometimes like when I look back on old messages that I've had with like fuck buddies or whatever, it just seems like just such love bombing. Like there's no, I know that I'm an amazing person, but there's no fucking way you can feel that way for me after us meeting on Hinge for a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what's the
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I want to give you like a personal experience, right? Because I think I struggle with that too. So this recent person who I like really, really like,
Mhm.
it was more so like long distance. So I was going to visit her and she was basically planning this kind of like trip for me because I don't know the area, I don't know the city, I don't know anything like that. And I remember for myself talking to my friends and being and one friend specifically and being like, like she's doing all this for me. I want to make sure like if I come correct because like typically the standard or the stereotype is like, oh, men are supposed to pick up the bill and do all these different things, which I don't always subscribe to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a lot of truth in showing effort and showing interest. Like effort definitely reflects interest. So I want to show that I'm putting an effort for you, right? So I say to say like in my mind, I was like, yo, when I get there, I want to make sure flowers is like essential. Fellas, if you're not buying flowers regularly all the time, you are tripping. Flowers is essential. That is bare minimum. Stop playing.
Thank
So
you.
flowers, I wanted to her love language is gift giving. So I wanted to make sure that like I got her a special gift.
Okay.
Um, so I got her like one or two gifts, something like special that was like based on conversations we had that something she wouldn't even like imagine me
Okay.
even thinking about. Like I wanted to take that into consideration too as a gift. And I remember talking to one of my homegirls, and she was just like, "No, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. That's too much. You're gonna love bomb her.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like, yeah, don't do that, don't do that. The bar is very low. You don't want to go above the bar because women don't like that. They
Damn.
might act like they do, but they don't really like that because that's doing too much. And then you're gonna appear to be like this, yada yada yada, right? And I think when she was mentioning love bombing, I was sitting back and I was like, damn, I really don't want to love bomb her. But at the same time, what I recognize for myself is that love bombing is very manipulative,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think the difference between love bombing and showing general interest is really the authenticity behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an ulterior motive. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I really do like you. I really do care about you. And I really am doing these things. I'm saying these things because it comes from my heart. You know what I mean? Like I'm a very sentimental person. I'm very a person. Just because you never receive that doesn't take away from that. Like I can't again, we're going back to this idea of like the persona of what we try to be in order to get somebody. I can't put this persona of somebody who I'm not because then when I start doing it, then that's gonna catch you off guard. Like, oh, you switching up. Like, no, I have to come as my authentic self. And then if you don't receive that, again, you might be projecting. I can't take that personal because you might never experience that. So I can't like if you feel like that's love bombing, then that's on you and that's not a reflection of me
Mm-hmm.
because I came with an authentic piece, but I don't hold you accountable. I don't hold resentment towards you if you feel that way because your experiences have shown you that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think again, it's like really hard to be able to tell the difference. But in my mind, it's like when it comes from an authentic place and you're genuinely doing things from your heart, I think that's where that line between love bombing. Because I think when you love bomb, it's you trying to manipulate. Like I
Yeah.
want something, I want to control you, I want all of this. And for me, when I think of love, I don't think love as control. I think love as freedom for you to
Mm-hmm.
make your own decisions to be your own person. So I'm doing all these things, and regardless of how you react, you have the freedom to either be with it or run away from it. But either way, that is your choice. And I think where love bombing is more so, yeah, I'm doing this because you have to like me and
Mm-hmm.
you have to be with me. Like I'm gonna do all these things, and you might not even like me. You might walk away. You might be talking to your ex, but it doesn't take away from what I did and why I did it. And I think that's the difference. Because when people love bomb, their intention is like, nah, I did this. I want you to recognize it, and I want you to be under my control. Where
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's like, I'm doing this, and you, man, you are still free to walk away from me and not like me. And that is okay. So I think that's really the difference between the two.
That makes so much sense. I love that so much. That makes a lot of sense. And I also just wanted to add like maybe the timeline of things as well. Like if you said you were talking to the woman that you went out on the date with for like a little while and then you like went to go visit them, like of course, like it's pent up time, like it's pent up shit. So of course you're gonna want to like shower each other with beautiful experiences. So that makes sense as opposed to like once again when you meet somebody on a dating app and they're like madly in love with you after like a week or two. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't or after one
Yeah, for sure. Timing.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I love that about the intention you're so
Timing, absolutely.
yeah. Come on, giving us lessons about attachment styles and love bombing and all that good shit. I love it. Okay, so with all that being said, what do you think that your biggest trials and tribulations have been when it comes to trying to find like your person? And are you actively looking for your person, or is it just like when the timing is right type of thing now?
Yo, first of all, I just want to like give you flowers. Your questions are fire. And the reason why they're fire is because you're asking stuff that I feel like is so much more complex than like a simple yes or no,
Thank
right? I think at my core, I'm always looking. You know what I mean? And I think even when I lie to myself and I'm like, yo, I don't want love, I don't want nobody, I'm single, I'm staying in my room. Like I meet people and like most of the time when I meet somebody, I'm thinking of like compatibility, like, and not even just on a relationship level, but even on a friendship level, on a do our energies match? Do we vibe? Are you a cool person? You know what I mean? So I think it's it's not that I'm necessarily like actively looking, but I do have my eyes. Oh, I'm not blind, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm still seeing things. I'm seeing, still paying attention to things. But again, I would say for me, I have these like five requirements, or not necessarily requirements, and it might not even be five, but like, for example, things that are important to me when it comes to a partner is number one, like safety. How safe do I feel around you? Do I feel safe to be myself? Do I feel safe to be vulnerable? Do I feel safe to watch whatever TV shows I'm watching, or do I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm heard or listened to or understood? Like I'm paying attention to that. The
Mm-hmm.
next thing I look for is like inspiration, right? Like, do you inspire me? Like, for those who don't know, like I have huge dreams. I want to be a talk show host. I want to eventually own my own media company. I want
Going
to.
to, you're going to do all this.
I'm going
Go
to. Yo,
ahead,
good looking out.
okay.
I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to. But I also like I'm going to be a better man, and I always want to strive to be a better man. Right? Is there a person who inspires me to be better than I already want to be for myself? I already have high expectations and high requirements for myself, but do you inspire me to even push past that beyond what I can see right now?
Mm-hmm.
What is your capacity to love? Like, not even just me, but how do you love people who can't do anything for you? How do you love people who aren't even able to like give you that love back? And then also like, what is your emotional awareness? How emotionally intelligent are you? Do you recognize your feelings? Are you sad? Do you acknowledge that you're sad? When you're happy, do you acknowledge when you're happy? When things aren't going well, can you say like, yo, I am not okay? So like these are some of the things that I look for in a person. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't pass those filters. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I'm kind of used to people not necessarily passing those filters. So I'm not always looking, but I always, if I feel like, oh wow, this person's like really inspirational, or this person's really dope, I'm definitely kind of like running through the test real quick, like, ooh, you inspire me. You checking off this box. Oh wow, you like maybe there's potential there, maybe not. So it's like I'm not necessarily actively looking, but I'm always paying attention to seeing what's out there and who's around me. But I think the place that I'm in now, I don't know. I'm at that weird place where it's like it's that one person who like if you send that text like, "Hey, let's make it work," I'm all in.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I feel like I'm getting into that phase where it's like I truly want to do like a dating fast and really just take the time to like reflect and focus on me, especially until I finish school, because I'm like so locked into school right now that I
Mm-hmm.
gotta finish. And I feel like everything else that I'm looking for in life is on the other side of finishing my program. So I'm in that at that weird place of like, yeah, shorty, I'm rooting for you. And I promise you, like, if you watching and you listening and you paying attention, like shoot me that text or call me or FaceTime me and let me know because I'm ready to love you right now, baby girl. Like, just say the word. And the
That
other side is like, yo, if that doesn't work out though, like the next chapter for me is to really bring all the energy back into me
mm-hmm.
and really just lock in because this chapter of my life, I have to be a lot more intentional and I have to focus. And the more I look and I search and I'm trying to find something, the more likely I'm going to lose focus on what's right in front of me and the job at
Mm-hmm.
hand. So I'm in this like weird place of like, I'm not looking, but yo, if she stopped playing, like I'm with her. Like that's gang, that's twin. We going through it. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. To everything you just fucking said. I have two things that I want to reflect on. One is you explaining what safety looked like to you, because I remember on your Instagram live when you were talking about like your five main requirements for a relationship, safety was number one. And I meant to ask like what safety looked like to you, because I feel like safety looks different to everybody. So thank you for that definition. That was really, really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And two is, I feel the same exact way, like about my success. And I was thinking that about you and your dating life as well. Like, I wonder if universe, higher power, whoever, whatever people believe in, I wonder if that entity is like holding your person back from you maybe until you're able to like pour more into yourself again, like continuously, and then also like reach certain goals that maybe you pouring into somebody else may have distracted you from. And the same goes for me. Like there are certain things in my life that I feel like are being held back from me. And I really realized this when I was really actively trying to date, and I kept hitting brick wall after brick wall after, like there was no hope. Like, and I was like, am I just making
Yeah,
decisions, And then I realized like, no, I think it's literally divine. Like that's when the celibacy came in. And then once I stopped focusing on dick, and not even just once I stopped focusing on wanting to cuddle, then I feel like I was able to focus on like what I really need to focus on. So
yeah. Can I ask you something about that?
please.
Does that scare you though? Because it's like knowing you again, like we're very similar in the sense of like we don't half-ass anything we do. Like if we're gonna do it, we're gonna be great, and we want to be like the greatest of all time with it, right? Does
Mhm.
it scare you to like reach, like let's say like a high power is saying like, nah, you got to be in your bag, you got to set up your career, you got to do all this. But does that scare you to like eventually get to that place of your career? And now is it like, do people like me because of my career, or do you like me for who I am? Like, does that scare you at all?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yes, absolutely. Like definitely. And I think that that's why sometimes I kind of go not backward, but I feel like there's just like one person from my past who I like will continuously hit up. It doesn't matter how many fallouts we have. We've never dated officially or anything like that. But I feel like because it's familiar to me, and even like old friendships that I've like resurfaced, like those are familiar. Like y'all been riding with me since day one, So I feel like I've been more so attracted to those old friendships and old connections as opposed to newer, it's like, you know what I'm saying, like newer, it's like no new friends kind of shit,
Yeah.
because like we're on that, like although we have these goals, like we're on the trajectory and like we're just getting higher and higher, so we do have to become more what's the word, that's what the D I just said, discerning about like who's around us. So yeah, like when I finally do get to that like peak or whatever next level, I am nervous of like meeting somebody new, and are they in it for the cloud, and then also just reflecting on other people's relationships, my own past relationships. Like I want to be in a relationship with somebody who has their shit going on for them constantly. Now I understand there are lulls in life, so I don't expect us to
Mhm.
what I'm saying, like fucking popping every second of the day. But to have goals and to like have accomplishments already would be super helpful, because I've learned that based on what I've seen from other successful relationships, like say, I don't even want to name drop, but like just celebrities that have like high status and then date men who do not have the same like achievements. I just see the resentment so clearly. Like I said, I experienced it in my own relationship. So it's like I want to meet somebody when they're accomplished, but I also want to know that their intentions are pure for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it makes perfect sense. It's that's one of my fears too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I rather bring somebody in at this kind of like ground level of still building, but at the same time, I feel as if a lot of the women in which I like come across, it's either they might not necessarily have like higher expectations for themselves, which is okay. You know what I mean? Like not everybody wants to be the CEO. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like and it's okay to not want that. But I
Is
think
it
like
okay?
I'm
No, I'm kidding. I'm
someone.
kidding.
Yeah, nah, it's for sure okay. It's for sure okay. But I think like for me, I've always tried to date people who were essentially like if not above me as far as like status or like what they're doing, or somebody who like you're definitely on the grind. But I think that's also a challenge from a male's perspective, because a lot of independent women who necessarily haven't they've tried with men and it didn't work out. So now they put on this more I would say like masculine side of like, I don't need anything. I can handle it. I got this. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna focus. You know what I mean? It's a lot more difficult for them to open that door and open that heart to trust. And again, like the bar is very low when it comes to men. You know what I mean? So I understand that. It's just sometimes I recognize for myself it's kind of difficult to really get certain women to like open their heart and to trust you because of it's such a risk. And it takes a lot of patience and it takes a lot of care and a lot of consideration and a lot of like affirmation and letting people run on their own pace.
Mhm.
But to your point, like, yeah, I definitely I fear that when I finally reach that certain level, that it's already like people are like, now we don't really want Nigel the person. We want Nigel the idea, the
Yes.
status. You know what I mean? And that scares me. That definitely scares me.
Yes. Have you witnessed that happen like within just you meeting people now? Like even if it's just like a quick encounter or anything like that. Like have you ever met somebody who kind of held you to this pedestal that they may see like online or whatever the case may be? And it's like, right, but what about my core me outside of like the content I create?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, family,
Mhm.
friends, like strangers for sure.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
definitely had people who, it's funny too, because I was talking to my cousin about this, because I recognize and I acknowledge I'm doing a lot of positive stuff and I have a lot of motion, a lot of traction. But I think sometimes, like when I'm in certain environments, I don't want to make it a thing. You know what I mean? Like even when I'm doing the stuff that I'm doing, it's cool to do it in the moment. But then after that, I'm one of those people. I'm kind of like off it. Like, yeah, I already did it. Like I wrote a book. Cool, I already wrote it. Let's keep it pushing. Let's keep it moving. And like people will make it such a big thing, and rightfully so. Like it does deserve those flowers. And a
Yeah.
part of it is me downplaying it, right? But the other side of that is like people get into this headspace of like, oh, he's so famous now. Oh, he's Hollywood. Oh, wow. Like, yo, he gonna be this person one day. Or, I'll go to like an event and people will be like, oh, we want you to like go tell this person about this book and tell this person about your school and your dreams and all these different things. And again, like it's not a bad thing. I don't want to sit here and be like, yo, this is like terrible. But it's more so in the sense of like, I didn't come here for that. Like I came here to like get away and play spades and just be myself.
Yes.
And I think I'm starting to reach that level where people are watching. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like there was a time when like I was the kid who had big dreams and everybody was like, stop it. You know what I mean? And now I'm at that point where everybody's like, yeah, he's one of them. Like, yo, you're a talent. You're about to come. And it's like I love it because it's what I've been praying for, is what I've been
Yeah.
hoping for. But there's still a part of me that's a little bit more reserved, and it's like, oh, like, hey, don't forget, y'all. Like, I'm still me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yes.
still not. Like, I'm still the person who, I'm like extroverted, but I'm very reserved, and I like to
Yes.
play spades and have a good time. And I don't want to always talk about business or work. I just want to like be with you and be around you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I definitely experienced it, and it's taken some getting used to. I was just at a book signing today. I
Okay.
was reading to some kids, right? And when I'm walking into this to the school, in my mind, I'm thinking like, yo, I'm just a stranger. These kids don't know me. I'm not no like crazy social media star. I ain't got a billion followers. Like I'm just me,
Uh-huh.
right? And and she introduced, she's like, yo, we have a author here. And these kids light up, like, oh my God, right? This one kid, after I got done talking, he was like, yo, Kai, I heard him talk to his friend, like, yo, I want to dap him up so bad. And I heard that. So I walked over to him and I dapped him, right? This kid was walking around with his hand out and he was like, yo, I'm not washing my hand ever again. Never. Like, yo, this is crazy. And it was like one of those moments where it was like, it was amazing and humbling, but at the same time, it's like, yo, this is crazy. Cause I'm not, again, in my mind, I'm just a little, it's just me, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just me. But it's like, yo, there's so many people who they don't come across that, or like they believe in you or they see you differently. And I know that's the responsibility that comes with that. And I got to own it and I got to be okay with that. But I think at this stage, because I feel like I haven't reached a certain threshold, sometimes it's for sure overwhelming. I'll be like, whoa. So when it comes to dating, especially on social media, like people slide up on my story and I'll be like, do you really want, like, you don't know me. You want me for
Mm-hmm.
the image and not for like who I actually am. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the stuff that I'm like trying to learn how to navigate at this point.
Damn, I love that so much. Also, you were being mad humble. Y'all, Nigel is so humble. Like, he literally, when he got to the school, they had literal, like, posters of him and, like, his book, like, on the door.
Bro.
Like, oh, it's so Beyonce shit. Like, come on, Renaissance, we see you.
Nah, that show is crazy. I was like, what is going? What is life? Life is not real.
Amazing. So, 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 so amazing. I love that so much. I love the hand. He probably really didn't watch his hand. He's probably sleeping, like,
Bro, I'm like, yo, bro, wash your hand, bro. Like, I promise you, like, yo, COVID was a couple years ago, brother. Wash your hands, brother. Like, please.
real fast.
That's
Literally.
crazy.
I feel you so, so much, though. Like, you talk about, like, personas and my mom calls it, my mom should be the co-host because I'm always quoting her, but she calls it like meeting people's representatives. So I feel like what they see on social media is like our representatives.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's us, but it's like I'm not walking around every fucking day like this, like holding dildos. You know what I'm saying? Like that's fucking exhausting. So that's like
Yeah.
the social media persona. But I remember one time I went over to this guy's house and I had just posted some shit on TikTok and was like, yeah, like I love, and this is not even about him, but it was like, yeah, I love when I'm having sex and somebody's like, you like that? Why? I can't even remember if it was when we didn't have sex, but when we were like fucking around, I feel like he said that. Like he was like, you like that? And I almost gagged because I'm like, I know that you literally got that from TikTok. You follow me on TikTok. And he had told me earlier that day, he was like, yeah, I was lurking on your TikTok to see if you was talking shit about me or whatever the case may be. Because I did talk shit about him one time, and that's how he found me on TikTok. God, man, this is why you can't mess with Leos because they think everything's about them. But
Yo,
yeah,
that's crazy because I'm like, me and Leo's, yeah, story for off camera, but yeah,
okay,
Me and Leo women go crazy, bro. Like,
damn. And it's crazy because you said that you've heard like bad things about Scorpios or whatever. You're trying to like redeem them, but I literally wrote down like a chart of all the people I ever had sex with, and I put their zodiac signs next to it. And they talk about this in Horrible.
mm,
I don't know if you watched the episode with oh, I can't remember her name, but it was one of the recent episodes, and she said that she wanted to have sex with every zodiac sign. My best sex was with a Scorpio. Like, yeah, legit. So shout out to y'all. You know, maybe if the Scorpio cares, you know, the Scorpio is thoughtful, then
I be
I
trying to
I
tell,
can vouch for it.
I be trying to tell people we like mad passionate and loyal, so it's like we gonna make sure you good. You know what? Thank you,
Oh, Warren.
thank you, thank you.
No, that's a fact. Yeah. And I wish that the Scorpio that I had messed with wasn't so much younger than I was because I feel like he was a bit scared of intimacy, but I introduced him to intimacy.
Mm,
So it was cool to like
yeah,
exploring that, you know? But yeah, and even going back to your anxious attachment style, like I definitely can see how that fucked me up in that relationship, or not a relationship, it was a friends with benefits, but that fucked me with a friends with benefits because I would get assurance and then I'd be like, oh shit, like I think I'm falling in like, or whatever the case may be. But then like I would fall back because I wouldn't want to be abandoned. And then I would like overly like pour into it. And I don't know, it's just a comedy. It's like I wanted him to know how I really felt, but it was a lot.
yeah. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's so hard, especially like again, like for the people who are like true lovers, for the people who are like romantic, for the people who are like really in tune with their emotions and understand how they feeling. I feel like the thing I always struggle with is like I've been told I'm too much, right? So you never want to be too much because you never want to love bomb. You never
Mm-hmm.
want to give so much of yourself to somebody for it to go wrong. But at the same time, like that's just who I am. So it's like, yeah, I really like you. Yes, I want to text you. We don't have to text every single moment of the day, but yes, I want to know that you alive and you good. A check in during the day, right? Like, yes, I want to like as much as I hate it, I want to know the little annoying, cute shit that you do during the day, or the things that just piss you off. You know what I mean? Like little things like that. Oh man, we're on FaceTime. We're not even talking about shit. I'm actually just watching you watch TV. But fuck it, I love it because I'm watching you and you doing your thing, and it makes you happy and at peace. And I love to see you at peace because it brings me peace. Like I'm that type of person, and I think it was always challenging. It's like I feel like I always come across people who, if they're not healing, like they're just starting their healing journey, or they're like early in their healing journey, or they're like just came after somebody who like broke their heart, or and my friend is like, yo, you're a healer. You got to understand, like, when people come to you, a lot of times they're gonna come to you in a space where they're just not ready for a lot. And yo, that's such a heavy burden because it's like, yo, I see the beauty in your vulnerability. I see the beauty in your pain. Even though you feel broken, I still see how beautiful and how amazing and how loving and how dope you are. If anything, like seeing people in their most vulnerable space is like a crazy revelation to like how amazing they are and how amazing they can be. But I feel like I always come across people who are like in that journey or just starting their journey. And it's always hard for me because it's like, girl, I love you right now. Like, I just want to love you, bro. Like, what's, but at the same time, you gotta recognize like not everybody's at that level or ready. So to your point, like what we were talking about earlier, sometimes I truly I used to think like, oh man, like love is not for me. And now I'm getting more so in the mindset is like it's not that love is not for me, but I'm supposed to be here to help people see how to love themselves. And then eventually I'll come across somebody, but that's not supposed to be anytime soon. That's years later.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm the person who people come to when they're feeling broken or if they're healing or they just need that like that sign that like, yo, there are good guys out there. And
Yes.
I'm supposed to help them kind of navigate it and get through that. And then eventually my person will come. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard for sure.
You just said that shit so eloquently. Like that was really beautiful. Like that was really beautifully said. And it made me even think back to what you were saying about your trip when you went and you went to like spoil the woman you were going on a date with like gifts or like just thoughtfulness. And your friend saying that's too much because like I understand both spectrums, right? Like I understand like if I was to have a conversation with somebody and then they literally were to bring me gifts that represented that they listen, because it to me, like my experiences are ones where I'm with people who don't listen and really just don't care. So I think that
Yeah.
would be like endearing, but at the same time, like I understand why your friend also said like nah, hold off on it. But it's like shit, like you don't want somebody to meet your representative. And if that's who you are to where your gift, you just seem like you're such a giving person in general, whether it's energy, knowledge, time, like whatever you can give. So
Mhm.
it's so like, how do you find balance in that? Like, how do you find balance in being your beautiful self and wanting to give these people beautiful experiences, but then not necessarily knowing or knowing that that's not your person, or not necessarily knowing that that's your person or not, but still wanting to be that beautiful person to people, and give those things.
Yeah. That's honestly, I feel like I'm still learning how to do that.
Mhm.
Um, because I think the assumption when you have like a great capacity to love is that you're able to give so much to other people and you'll always be able to give that to yourself.
Mm.
And like the best analogy I saw recently was like similar to an apple tree. A tree doesn't grow apples to feed itself. A tree grows apples to feed other people.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm growing these apples not to feed myself, but to feed other people. I still need to be fed. I still need water. I still need somebody to pour into me, but it just doesn't happen all the time. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of it is like really just making peace. And again, like being honing into like the intention and the man who I want to be. You know what I mean? Like not losing sight of like the man I want to be. I want to be a man who raises the bar. The bar is low. Lady, the bar is in hell. If nobody understands, Nigel Marcellus Taylor understands the bar is in hell. But maybe I could be that one person who shows you like, yeah, the standard is this low, but when it came to him, like the standard is a little bit higher. So
Mm-hmm.
why would I settle for the low when
Mm-hmm.
I know what it could be like to bring this high, right? Like I feel like I find peace in trying to just to make a difference. You know what I mean? Like on all my social media is the one tagline I have is I'm here to make a difference. I want to make a difference in people's lives. I want to make a difference in the people who I come across. I want to leave strangers better than I found them. I want
Mm-hmm.
to leave everybody better than I found them. So I think what helps me make peace of that is just being able to say like, at least when you came across me in any chapter of your life, the one thing you can walk away is like I did try to make a difference. I did try to show something different. And even though that energy is not always reciprocated back to me, it's okay because I still believe that someday it will be. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And when that day comes, whenever it comes, oh man, I'll be happy. You gonna see, I promise you. I remember like way back when my friend was like, nah, you're the type of person who be like TikTok, relationship. You know what I mean? You're gonna post your personal. And I was like, nah, stop playing. Nah, for sure. If you go through my TikTok repost, you will see how much of a lovey-dovey person I am. Like
Oh
that
God.
person is gonna, yeah, nah, you 100, like I'm gonna give you my all and then some. But until then, I just have to be patient.
Yeah,
But it doesn't mean like while I'm patient, I can't give to other people.
I
So
understand.
it's really just learning how to, keep pouring, keep doing these things, but at the same time, remembering myself. And I think that's the key that I used to miss all the time. I didn't remember myself. I didn't think of myself. I would just give, 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 give.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, it is what it is. But now it's more so like, yeah, you could give all these things, but are you okay? You good? Yeah, you peace? You did you eat today? Did
Mm-hmm.
you taking care of yourself? And then being able to like bring that energy back to me, refuel, and then go back to the world.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. That you literally, I think you just kind of answered a bit of the question that I was going to ask in regards to like how you refuel yourself. Because I definitely have realized that I've been experiencing a lot of burnout to where I've been pouring into other people and then having to spend 4 days recovering, but not necessarily like actively refueling myself and pouring into myself. So I've had to figure out ways. I think I talked about it in my last episode or the episode's coming out. I've had to figure out ways of like making myself feel whole. So like making sure that I'm drinking water. Am I hydrated?
Yeah,
It's hard for me to function, like so I know what my list of things as a woman are, but what as a like a young Black man, what are your ways that you pour back into yourself after giving love to so many other people?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not always the best at doing that. I'm still the person who, if I'm going through a lot, it's hard for me to open up and share that. Like I'm a very vulnerable person, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you ask the question, I'm not gonna lie to your face.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't ask, I'm not always gonna share it. But this is where again, like so much of my affinity for Black women comes from that.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the moments where I'm always at my lowest, I always have had a woman ask me, like, yo, are you okay? Like, Nigel, how are you taking care of yourself? Like, I've had so many Black women hold me accountable or check in on me or like look after me or be like, yo, like, yeah, you say you good, but it don't matter. I'm pulling up on you regardless. We about to go take this car ride. And then ask one question and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the world's about to end and oh, my heart's broken and I just want it, you know what I mean? So part of it is like, and not even just Black women. I have a lot of just amazing people, men, women, family members, cousins, friends, who really, really hold me down in ways in which, like, a lot of times I don't even feel like I deserve the love that they give to me, but they pour into me regardless. So like one of them is like leaning on my support system, and sometimes I don't even lean into them. They call me in, right? It's not even calling, like they don't call me out, they call me in. They come like, hey, I'm here. What's up? What's going on? So part of it is like leaning on them. Another part is going back to like the physical, making sure I'm staying active, that I'm drinking water, that I'm taking care of my body, that I'm eating right. And I think the one thing that I'm working on a more of an emotional level is the balance being between expressing my feelings of how I feel and making sure those are validated without villainizing the person who I'm dealing with. And I think one of the things that I always hold myself back from is I'm somebody who I'm sentimental. Like I'm really in tune with my emotions. Like I can tell you how I'm feeling for sure. I can articulate it in any way, but sometimes I hold back of sharing my emotions because I never want to share my emotions and then create a picture of somebody and make them into a monster. So
Mm-hmm.
even though you made me feel terrible, I still hold back because I know that although that was my experience, that doesn't take away from the fact that you're a good person, you're a loving person, you're still deserving of love. So I think I'm slowly starting to get into this place of still being able to validate my emotions without painting a picture and making somebody into a villain.
Yeah.
Because I never like when I go vent to somebody, I'm like, yo, like this person, oh my gosh, she driving me crazy, or da 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 da, and then the person's initiate like quick responses like, oh man, that person ain't shit. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, oh, slow down. Like, nah, that person is like amazing. The reason why I'm even venting to you is because that person's so amazing. And it's not working out with me. But I feel as if like I always hold myself back from expressing those feelings because I never want one to villainize somebody, or I never want them to like read a post or read something and be like, oh, he's sneak dissing me. Like, nah, it's not even about you. It's about me. But it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I'm learning that balance. And I think part of my dating fast, if I do choose to go on that, is being able to learn how to talk and write about my previous relationships in a more healthy way. And
Mm.
it's not to say like I've done it in a like a destructive or a disingenuous way, but I
Yeah.
think learning how to be able to express my feelings towards somebody openly, but not in a way that makes them turn into a monster. Because I think that's something that we do when it comes to dating. Like we have a bad experience. Granted, some of us come through some really terrible people,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of the game is like it wasn't compatible. You know, we weren't compatible in any way, and it just doesn't
Yeah.
work out. And I feel like I've never. The one thing I can say about me, no woman in my life that I talked to has ever been like a monster. Like I wish them the greatest love, the happiest love, the healthiest love. They're all incredible women. It's just we wasn't compatible. So I want to learn, get better at being able to like write poetry and share my emotions and talk about my experiences without again like demonizing that person.
Yes. Yes. I love that so much. I also struggle with that as well when it comes to demonizing specifically past partners. But when I think about just family and friends that I have in my life now and trying to find ways to like
Mhm.
express myself and like as you know, I'm a Virgo, so it's kind of in our nature to want to like fix, right? I'm actually gonna backtrack to like three conversations before, and then we're gonna come back to pouring into ourselves, and then we're gonna
But
to another story that I want you to share that you just triggered. So in a good way. So no, what did I just say I want to go back to at first? Oh no, I wish I could rewind the tapes. Okay. I remember I said I wanted to go back to ways that I pour into myself. There was something before that. But we'll figure that out. Okay, so ways that I want to pour into myself are that's what I was saying. Thank you. It's my ADHD brain. So we just go with a lot of people in my life, like I said, I feel like I've been pouring into, right? I don't necessarily feel like they have the capacity right now to be able to pour into me. So the ways that you said that you have like this support system is something that I think that I desire, but I think I've convinced myself that I don't deserve it because I don't necessarily have the capacity to be that fully for other people at all times. So I think that one of the ways that I used to pour into myself relationship wise, like especially when I hadn't been in a relationship. I didn't get into my first relationship until I was 24. I think that's 23. But I would write myself love notes and like love letters and literally like good morning text like,
mm,
in my notes. Like I have them from 2014 and it's like, good morning, beautiful. I love you so much. Like I love everything about you. And I would just pour into myself in that way. But I think that I'm going to now,
yeah.
even outside of dating, like do those check-ins. Like I very much so avoid journaling when I need to do it the most. And like I want to ask myself the questions that I want other people to ask me. Like if I'm not doing the check-in fully, can I really expect other people to do it? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to just say real quick, I don't mean to cut you off
Oh,
because I know like there's other points you want to make, but to that point of like not feeling like you deserve, I 100% feel the same way. And I want to affirm and let you know like you're not alone because I'm one of those people who like by nature, I define myself as a loner. I define myself as somebody who is a friend group hopper. Like I don't have consistent friends.
yeah.
Any given day, I could be with a different group of people. And the only time they all come together is like on my birthday and then the Avengers form. But for the
Yeah.
most part, everybody else is doing their own single mission and I'm just kind of like hopping in. So it's something where I to this day I still struggle with. Like a lot of people want to be there for me. I don't again, going back to abandonment, I don't trust that a lot of people are really gonna be there for me. So it's like this back and forth of like, I know you want to be there, but I still don't trust this, so I might figure it out myself. But sometimes I'm go, and I think what I usually like mistake myself in doing is like I get to a place where I like back myself all the way to a wall, and then so many people ask me that I tell so many people, and then once I like Then when they check in on me, then I have multiple people checking in on me on a certain situation, and then it drives me crazy because like too many people are asking me this question. I'm telling too many people. Why not just keep it in myself? So like I say all to say, I just want to affirm that like that struggle of do I really feel like I'm deserving of this community? You are not alone. I struggle with that on the daily for sure. I did not grow up with like consistent friends. I did not grow up really having like a best friend until much later in my life. And even then, I'm still even trying to figure out what does it mean to be a best friend? What is that communication style pattern? Do you even really care about me? Or like, so like, yeah, I should to say like, you're not alone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's the crazy part about it is like hearing you say that, right? I'm like, but you're so deserving. Like you're literally like you are so supportive of everybody else that you are so deserving to receive that support back. So I guess it's just like the kind of mirror shit where it's like you just see stuff in other people. And I think that I'm also working on seeing myself in that way as well. Like, cause I feel like people can pour into you all they want, but if you can't affirm yourself or you don't see it within yourself, then the affirmations can sit, but then they kind of fall off eventually, you know? So
Yeah, they don't internalize it at all.
yes, exactly. Yeah. So thank you for that. We are both very, very, very deserving of the community and the support that we have. But I also fully understand the aspect of the overwhelm then after you ask for the help. Or I don't know if you experienced this, but like guilt after expressing yourself. Like I know you talked about demonizing. Like I expressed myself to my mom earlier, and then she like took it so well, and I was like, "Oh, I hope she feels like a beautiful person." Like I just had this one observation I wanted to share, and I could have kept it to myself, you know. So I don't know what that's about, but I guess it's just a journey. And like the more conversations that we have like this, the more that we'll be able to like fully show. And especially in your case, like I said, because I've seen you support people. Like I've actively seen you like be there for people. You were there for what, 52 people you said, or 53 at Thanksgiving? Like, you know, so
Yeah.
seen that for you. And I know for me, like I'm trying to figure out even what my communication style is. Like we talked about attachment styles, but even my communication, I'm not a good texter, like at all. And I'm like, I know that that's a thing that I made up back in the day when I first started dating and was like actively like had my volume up loud, like had my vibration on so that I could like be ready when somebody texted me, and then nobody would text me. So now I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take a week to fucking text people because what's the rush, you know? But I feel like that's something that's grown
Yeah.
now. And I'm like, I'll just take a month. Like, well, damn it, Tia, like, you know, that's not the healthiest. Like, what do I really want? So I'm trying to redefine like what my communication style is, on top of just discovering my attachment style, as I just did on this call. So
No, it's funny you say that because like you say you're a bad texter, but if like let's say you're talking to somebody who you're genuinely interested in, do you feel like you're a good texter when it comes to them? Or do you
that's
still take like a week or two?
no. That's a great question. Romantically, I feel like I'm a way better texter, to be honest with you. I feel so fucked up by
Yeah,
saying that though. Like, you know?
yeah. I'm the same way. I think like some people feel like I'm like a horrible texter, but like if I like you, the way I'm locked into like my phone will be on silent, do not disturb, and if you text me somehow, and within 2 minutes, I know you texted me. You know what I mean? And I'm ready to text you back instantly. And I struggle with that because I recognize not everybody has the same communication style,
Yeah.
but I'm always of the mindset that effort reflects interest. So if you're not putting in effort, then you probably not interested in me. And I right now I'm battling that. Like, are you interested or are you not? Is this my fearful avoidant coming out or is it not? Is it what's the goal? But yeah, I was just curious how you navigate it, especially like when you in romantic. If I like you, you definitely get a text from me. Like if you text me, it's like, oh yeah, I'm over here geek. Like yeah, for real.
Yeah, I definitely like, I have to stop myself. Like, and it's been a while, I guess, since I really like texted romantically. Um, so I feel like I have to literally like wait 5 minutes because like I'm like, okay, I just saw the text 2 fucking seconds ago to you. Like it just sent, like you just got the notification. Do you need to reply like immediately or can you just give it a breather? Like, can you make it seem like you were at least away from your phone for a second? So I've had to find balance in that when it comes to my dating. But that's like, am I playing games? You know, like I want you to know that I'm texting,
Yeah,
you know, so much. But I do want to say, like, give my testimonial to being your friend, because I very much so have craved like positive friendships in my life, specifically with men. I've always wanted like guy close friends and like had these brothers growing up and these like best friends, quote unquote, and all this stuff. And I used to like beg them for a certain kind of treatment. And I was still learning my own worth and stuff like that. But I'm so grateful for this friendship because you make me, you help me accept the really introspective part of myself. You ask a lot of questions, even on your lives. Like you ask a lot of questions that had me in the comments thinking like, damn, I got some work to do. Like you have literally, and it's not even in the way of that's what I was going to talk about originally, the healing, but it's tied into this. Like when you have the energy that you have, and I can highly relate to like being a healer and having people gravitate towards you. It is a lot, and that's why I started off by saying like I'm a fixer, or I'm a reformed fixer. Because I used to have like these bleeding souls coming to me and being like, I can heal him, and then like breaking my own heart with not even wasting time. It's never wasted time, I guess, but you know, like just yeah, I felt like I just constantly had that kind of energy in my life. So I felt like I just had to heal and fix everybody that was around me, not realizing that like my energy is healing regardless. So I didn't have to take in every fucking fuck boy that I met just because like I can heal him. So I think though that you've taught me in the conversations and just in your like open heartedness for love, you remind me of who I used to be before my relationship. And I've even recognized this like story that I'm kind of stuck in. And I can validate my own story. I think it took me a while to like be able to acknowledge certain things, and I'm still uncovering. Like my brain has protected me from so much in my relationship, but you've inspired me to want to be more than my story, right? Because my heart used to be so open. I literally found a text that I had read earlier, and it was talking about, it was like a long message I had wrote for my ex when we first started dating, like 2 months in. He was cheating on me at the time, but and that's the story I'm talking about. Like, why did I have to say that? But he was like, that's my truth. So but it was like I was pouring so deeply into him, Nigel. Like it was like 7 paragraphs. A lot.
Ooh,
All
paragraphs
love.
crazy. I feel that. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that passion for sure. Like, yeah,
Yeah. And I used to feel like, you know, I changed my name is not Love. Like my birth name's Atiya, but I changed my name to Love Atiya when I was 2015. I know is the year, but I changed my name because I wanted to have more love in my life and I wanted to give more love. And it's like I was on that path of like giving love to everyone, and that's what I'm always going to do naturally just by default. But I think that my relationship halted me a bit in the capacity that I felt like I was able to continue just frivolously giving out love, because I think I didn't trust myself. Like I think you talked about self-trust earlier. Like
yeah,
I didn't trust myself and my discernment. If I was pouring into him, like what the fuck, you know, what am I doing? So I think that
yeah.
I'm just
No,
very,
that
yeah.
that trust part is major. You know what I mean? Like the ability to trust yourself. I think that is honestly the key. That's something I am battling on the daily, is learning how to trust myself. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like I don't always trust myself when it comes to like love.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's crazy. I believe in love. I don't always trust myself when it comes to love. I think I trust myself to have a great capacity for other people, but I don't always trust my discernment in bringing in love to myself because of, again, like the abandonment, the all the times I get really close and vulnerable and open up and and get to that place of like, yeah, I'm ready. I want to build with you, and it doesn't work out. I just watched this video by this woman named Brene Brown, and she said the most challenging emotion, or the scariest emotion, is joy.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why she said it's joy is because usually when we're feeling joy, we always feel like there's something that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Something's going to end this. Something's going to ruin this. So in order to combat that, we don't go all in. We're not fully present. We don't fully accept everything that we're going through. We hold ourselves back and we reserve ourselves so that way when disappointment happens, it doesn't take away our joy. And she brought up this example of like this couple being together, and this guy was like, man, I feel like there's always gonna be something bad that's gonna happen. Like I'm not going to she might leave me, she might cheat on me, so I'm not gonna fully be in this. I'm not gonna be joyful in this. I'm gonna reserve myself. And what ended up happening is his wife died. And when
Mm.
she died, the number one thing his takeaway was the fact that I wish I was more present. I wish I was more joyful. I wish I was actually in that space. And the reason why I bring that up is because the one thing that I really try to be when it comes to like love, especially now, despite the pain, despite the hurt that might come, is like be fully authentic and present in that moment because that's an experience. And I don't own anybody. Like I have no control over anybody. But
Mhm.
what I can control is like how I show up. And the
Mhm.
last thing that I want is to walk away from these experiences and be like, damn, I did not give it my all.
Mhm.
And I think it hurts for sure when it doesn't work out. But when I look back, I find myself always smiling at those moments where I'm like, yeah, but I gave this my all. Like I'll
Mhm.
go through old photos of this trip. And it's not to say like me and her are on bad terms or nothing like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like we're still like really cool. But I was fully present. I didn't allow myself to be self-sabotaging. And every time I look through these pictures, I smile.
Oh.
Or like when I'm looking at old pictures of like people who I might have talked to in the past, I still smile. Not because it's like, oh man, like we could have been, or I wish. Nah, it's just more so in the sense of like, yo, I remember being genuinely happy and joyful in these moments with you. And I think that's what I'm trying to learn.
Hey, beautiful souls. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but if you know me and Nigel, you know that we could go on for hours and hours and hours. So I decided to clip this up into 2 episodes. I hope that you enjoyed part one. Actually, I know that you enjoyed part one because I had so much fun looking back on it. And definitely would love for you to stay tuned to part two because Nigel does not stop dropping the gems. If you want some more behind the scenes videos, some more episodes, some more updates, some more tea, piping hot tea. If you want to join me for my upcoming slumber party, then tune into my Patreon, and I have a free tier right now. Don't know how long it's going to exist, so be sure to hop on that so we can bond in between episodes because I have so many extra thoughts that I love to put on my Patreon. So yes, be sure to sign up. I love y'all so much. I'm so excited. If you want some pleasure tips, be sure to head to loveatiya.com/sign up. The link will also be in the description, and follow Nigel everywhere. I'm going to also put his information in the description, but be sure to check back for part two of our amazing chat where we talk more about love, dating, self-esteem, and just life in general, honestly. I love y'all so much, but before we go, I want you to check out this final tidbit of the episode where Nigel just dropped some more of his information for you to contact him. All right. Love y'all. Give yourself a hug for me. And back to the episode.
If you listen to this, just know like I am him. You already know I am single. I might be going on this dating fast regardless, but who knows? Life is possible. I'm still single. My DMs is open. I'm always taking applications. All right, cool. Now, as far as like who I am, again, y'all, thank you so much. Nigel Marcellus. Y'all can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, really anything at Nigel Marcellus. Um, I'm gonna be a talk show host one day, one of the biggest to ever do it. And my goal is to help people have healthier conversations with themselves. Hopefully, this gave you a glimpse of kind of like my work and what I do. And I'm still figuring out how I'm gonna get there, but I know I'm gonna do it. As far as where you can follow me on social media. If you have kids or you don't have kids, I have a children's book. It's called The Endless Possibilities with Nora and Vincent. It's really to help people, children specifically, but people in general, just not limit themselves and recognize like the possibilities are endless as long as you believe in yourself, and that the ability to believe can open up so many doors for you. So my children's book's out. Definitely cop it. If you go on my page right now, you're gonna be flooded with me just going to different schools, talking to different kids, and I love it. Um, but I also do a lot of like street interviews and just trying to create more space for people to have conversations that might be hard, but are just so necessary for us to grow and evolve. So the last thing I'll say is like I'm constantly doing a lot of different stuff, but no matter what I'm doing, I just want you to know, listening to this, specifically, it's 11:11 right now, which is crazy. My wish for everybody is to really internalize your worthiness and understand that you are enough. You're worthy. You're deserving of love. You're deserving of happiness. You are such a star. We need you in this world. Even if you're going through it and you're having a difficult day, just understand everything will be okay. Feel your feelings, process them, heal, but understand that you are so perfectly and uniquely designed to be on this earth. Your presence is a blessing. I'm so thankful that y'all took the opportunity to listen to me and love Atiya. I'm beyond thankful, and I have so much love for you for giving me this opportunity to be here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so, so much, Nigel. My heart is so full. I love you so much. I appreciate you so much. Also, you don't have to have kids to buy the book. I'm an avid children's book reader, so that's one. I'm ordering one for my baby cousins. Well, not one. I'm ordering books for my baby cousins. I have a nephew. Like, y'all got nieces and nephews, so feel free to get creative. Y'all got friends who are having babies. My friends are popping out babies left and right. So they all gonna be reading Nigel's book, okay? And also, Nigel is featured on Project Pleasure, which is something that's being released next year. I don't know when this is coming out, so I don't know if it's gonna be like that year, 2024, whatever. So yes, Project Pleasure. Nigel gives some great takes. And you're just such a pleasure to work with. You're such a joy. Like, I literally could have gone on for another 15 hours. I was like, Atiya, you gotta chill. So it's okay. Just know that we're having a lot more of these conversations. And I just thank you so, so much for, again, just being your beautiful self, for seeing me, for helping me see myself, for all that you've done, for motivating me, for being so transparent with your journey. You show the highs, the lows, the middle ground. You show everything, and it's just very humanizing of you. So just thank you for all that you do. Please know that I'm so proud of you. And if you ever need a reminder of how amazing you are, how important you are, how talented you are, how intelligent you are, how perspicacious you are, which is the word that my dad taught me in hospital, then like send me a piano. No, okay, we're not gonna use piano because that was like for triggers. Send me an emoji of a saxophone, and I will literally let your shit like pouring the fuck into you. So send me the sax.
I appreciate you.
Of course, I appreciate you so, so much. Thank you again for being my very first Zoom guest. Thank you all for listening. Please, again, I'm going to link all of Nigel's socials and link to buy the book and everything in the description below. There's probably going to be a two-parter, so just stay tuned for part 1, part 2. But yes, thank you so, so much. I love it. I'm giving you a virtual hug. Oh, yeah, we have to do our sign out. So we give a hug. And then I say, be kind to animals, be kind to yourself, and that's those bitches.
Peace and love, everybody. That's always my sign up.